Hello, friends. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Peter Neuwirth's newest show, Silver Divorce, How to Simplify a Painful Process. I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs, founder of Incandescent PR and Publishing Company, and producer of the show on Incandescent Radio and our YouTube channel, incandescent.tv. When it comes to the terrible topic of divorce, Pete is showing us that there can be a silver lining. And this show takes a deep look at ways to simplify the process, especially in your senior years. Today's guest is the perfect person to help us understand the topic from the financial planning perspective. Welcome, Marguerita Cheng, CFP Pro, who is also a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. So take it away, Pete.
For this series, I'm bringing in a bunch of experts who are very, very knowledgeable and involved in the divorce world and helping couples manage through it. And my first guest is someone I've had on before, and Rita Cheng is one of the very, very best financial planners out there. And I don't have to go through her resume anymore because I think Hope has already done it, but she is one of the true leading lights in this field, and she has her own subspecialty in divorce. So welcome back to the show, Rita. Thank you so much for coming back. And let me just start by saying, tell me a little bit about this particular part of your financial planning practice. How common is it? How do you get involved? And just tell me what you do for divorcing couples.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. The topic of silver divorce. So silver divorce, as you mentioned, refers to couples who are divorcing at retirement age or in retirement. Divorce over 50 is becoming more common, and it does not have to be the end of the world. So this is something that does come up. And I will just share a quick story that will also answer your question. So my mommy was born in 1946. That makes her the head of the pack, a leading boomer. And I remember when my mom went to her high school reunion, the 50th reunion, she's like, I can't believe it, that they divorced after 45 years because she hadn't seen people for 5 years. And I said, Mommy, people are living longer. Think about this. Granny lived to be 94. When you're about 63, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I still have another 31 years left. Do I really want to spend the last third of my life with this person? And then my mom giggled. So I'm saying that this is a phenomenon. People are living longer. And sometimes there are life events that could cause couples to grow apart.
Well, and I guess, I've seen it just in my my environment, my social circles, and what I've seen is that the pandemic had a big deal too, because it seemed like when the pandemic came in 2020, couples either got closer or decided that's it. And have you seen in your practice an uptick in the number of older people getting divorced because or as a result of pandemic-related stresses?
So this is what's interesting. I'm in several groups that focus on divorce. In my practice, I haven't necessarily seen an uptick of my existing clients, but I have acquired clients who did divorce as a result of the pandemic. So we thought that we would see a baby boom during the pandemic. Yes, there have been some pandemic babies, but as you mentioned, people like, oh my God, this is too much being on lockdown with this person. Do I really want to spend the rest of my life with them?
Right. Well, you mentioned that you've acquired a couple of some clients that got divorced or getting divorced. To get divorced, you actually have to have lawyers involved. And so can you talk a little bit about the role of lawyers and how they relate to CFPs, and when do lawyers get involved? When should they be involved? How do you manage that whole process? Because I know in my own divorce that was a challenging aspect of it all.
So what is interesting is people have more options today. They can do collaborative divorce. They can do arbitration or mediation. I will tell you, if there is a situation where there is violence, abuse, it may be most appropriate to work with an attorney. So, and this is what I tell people. You divorce from your spouse in 3 ways: legally, financially, and emotionally. And it's really important to have professionals to help you in each area. I know that your attorney, if you have one, is very, not just competent, but they are excellent at what he, she, they do. However, you do not want to be crying on your attorney's shoulder. They're not your therapist. And you don't want to go to your therapist for legal advice, because they are your therapist. They're for emotional support. And last but not least, the role of a certified divorce financial analyst and the role of a certified financial planner. A certified divorce financial analyst is there to present different scenarios to you so that you can see the financial impact of these decisions. So a CDFA does not necessarily displace the attorney. They are there to support any decisions that you want to make, and also provide supporting evidence and documentation for opposing counsel. So I can be really concrete. Let's just say it's a situation where opposing counsel doesn't feel that you are entitled to a certain amount of assets. Well, a certified divorce financial analyst can show you the impact of that offer and why it may not be appropriate for you. Because at the end of the day, a certified divorce financial analyst wants to make sure that the parties have an equitable outcome. And remember, equitable does not mean equal.
Well, that's right. I mean, I guess, I mean, I look at the whole thing as a kind of a one giant actuarial exercise, because, you know, what you've got is I think of a couple, you know, with their financial plan, as they're going to have a set of future expenses. They've got some assets, they've got future income, and it's all about matching those future expenses, some of which are contingent with the future income. And, you know, if they have to draw down capital to meet some of that, okay, but it's all about living for the rest of your life on what you've got, which is, as I say, a fundamentally an actuarial or financial planning challenge of balancing the future risk and the time. But once a couple gets divorced, now you've got to split, essentially demo that house and renovate and build 2 separate smaller houses on that property, and make sure that those 2 financial houses are there and can support you for the rest of your life. And that's a very, very complicated challenge. And when I think about the complications, particularly among older individuals, they seem to fall into 3 categories, which is taxes, real estate, and retirement benefits. And the interactions of all those 3, and each of those 3 individually, are fiendishly complicated and in some sense require specialists. How do you see it sort of the same way? And if so, what is your approach, knowing that not everybody can be an expert in everything?
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I also would throw another one in there: insurance.
Yes.
Insurance meaning life insurance. You know, if they're still working,
Yes.
access to health insurance, right?
Mhm.
And then, of course, if you were thinking, oh my goodness, my plan is my loved one is going to care for me in old age, well, then like long-term care, right? And so I think it's important to recognize that divorce requires a team. And you want to make sure that the people you hire aren't just experts, but you want to make sure that they can collaborate with one another. This might not be collaborative divorce. That's not what I'm saying, but you want to make sure that your attorney can work with the tax advisor. If there's a business, the business advisor. So it's really important that not just that you have a knowledgeable and experienced team, but you want to make sure that they actually can work together and are working together for your best interests.
Well, Rita, of course, that's music to my ears because, as you know, I've set up a little operation with Barry Sachs and Mary Jo LaFay to try to integrate and collaborate and coordinate on at least three of those aspects, which is the real estate, the taxes, and the pensions and retirement plans. And you've added a fourth, which I think is absolutely necessary to throw into the mix, which is insurance. And, we three can handle some of those insurances, life insurances, for example, annuities, but not the health insurance. And perhaps there needs to be another specialist. But what we've discovered is that it is really, really important for the three experts or four or however many to coordinate and make sure that the message that comes through is holistically integrated in a way for the efficiency, for the tax and financial efficiency of the client. And I guess, but we don't see much of that coordination going on out there. Do you see that? I mean, it seems like it's each specialist for himself, maybe coordinated by the attorney, maybe not.
So I think that's where like someone like a CDFA or a CFP Pro can really come into play by coordinating, because I am not an attorney. I don't have a background in law. Now, I need to know enough about that. I also am not an actuary. Now, of course, I can do time value of money calculations, but I don't have your area of expertise. And then, of course, there's Mary Jo. I know how home equity conversion mortgages work. So I would say it is hard to find a team that is working together for the benefit of the client. I do think that because financial planning is holistic and comprehensive, the financial advisor can bring everybody together to show people, hey, here's what it's like if you keep the house. Okay, here's what it's like if you sell the house and you both get separate properties. So these exercises, I tell people, they are time consuming. Like someone said, can you just tell me the answer? I'm like, no, I can't. And it's not because I'm mean or I'm stupid or I'm lazy. I, as a fiduciary, cannot do what's in your best interest or cannot guide you and develop a plan to show you what's in your best interest if I don't know all the information. So my dad was a mathematician. If I don't know the inputs, I can't tell you what the output is. My dad would say garbage in, garbage out, right? Someone said to me, like, gosh, that's a lot of work, Rita. I said, it is a lot of work, but this is your financial life. And I can think of no better way to help you navigate this very difficult time than to make sure that we are being thorough and comprehensive.
Well, it sounds, and I think I agree 100% with you, Rita, because it sounds to me like the CFP and the CFP Pro is the general contractor in this business. And you need a general contractor when you're building a house, when you're demoing a house, when you're renovating a house, when you're turning one house into two houses. And I guess my question is, why aren't more CFPs running the show instead of the divorce lawyers?
So this is interesting. I knew you were going to ask this question. And I actually wrote this article for Forbes. I know it's from 2020, but it's still relevant. Actually, this went live right before the pandemic unfolded. Women don't consult financial advisors when they get divorced. Here's why they should. So there's a couple of reasons for this. When people think divorce, they're just focusing on the legal aspect. And they do need an attorney. I don't want to say they don't, but they're not necessarily thinking about the financial aspect. And many times you know, when it comes to divorce, it's the person who has more resources, more money, that has access to more advice. Also, it could be a situation where women, I am going to say women, are under a lot of pressure to settle, literally settle. You know how we say don't settle, to settle and make a decision because people want to move on. So first, it is lack of awareness. Second, it is lack of resources. And third, it's like pressure. Those are the top three. There's other reasons. But once people know, oh gosh, a certified divorce financial analyst, CDFA, helps focus on the financial planning aspect of divorce to ensure or to help my legal team prepare me for the most equitable outcome. But it's really important that people understand that if you want to derive the most favorable outcome, it's important that the person that you work with who is going to help with, I'm putting in quotes, divorce financial planning, is really truly focused on the planning
Right.
and not like moving money around until it's final.
What you're showing me is that it takes a lot to build a house. I mean, I'm learning that, trying to rebuild my house in Santa Rosa, but it takes it takes the solar guy and the electrician and the plumber and everybody. And talking to you, I see that the CFP truly is the general contractor of this, and you know how to build houses, keep them running. And thank you so much for all of your incredible insights and you know, insights and observations about this interesting, dangerous, and complicated environment.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys. Well, that was so fascinating. Rita, you're always amazing. The audience might know that Rita and I have done more than 100 shows on Marguerita Cheng, Margaritas with Marguerita. And now this is just fantastic information to expand the conversation around silver divorce. So I thank you all for listening to season 1, episode 1, and watching as well of Peter Neuwirth's new show, Silver Divorce, How to Simplify a Painful Process. I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs, founder of Incandescent PR and Publishing and producer of the show on incandescentradio.com and our YouTube channel, Incandescent TV. Be sure to watch Pete on all of these episodes, as well as his other show, which we produce, called Money Mountaineering, What's Your Future Worth? So we will transcribe this so that all of our listeners and viewers can get more information, because it was so fantastic and helpful. Thank you, Ms. Rita. Thank you, Pete. And we look forward to talking to you on episode 2. Take care, everybody.